A couple other things we got to check out, look into before we get ready or prepare for advance. We still got a couple other games that we got that needs to get knocked out before we advance to the divisional round. But we need to upgrade the franchise staff. You see, I've been collecting these points all year. I haven't really allocated much besides trying to get my extra focus player. But it's time to upgrade the franchise staff. So let me see. I'm not really gonna fool with my offensive or defensive coordinator much. I'm probably just gonna, max out what I can max out for the coach. If I have anything left over, do player personnel. I'm not giving anything to offensive or defensive coordinator until I get real offensive and defensive coordinators on the roster. So let's see. Road grader, increase XP gains for left. Let's see. Steady hands, increase more wide receivers. Probably gonna go with this side because it's more focused on the offensive line. Offensive line. I'm gonna go with this side for the offensive line purposes because receivers are a lot easier to develop on my own during gameplay action and focus players. Offensive line is a little bit more, they're a little bit slower to develop. So we'll focus on this side, things that cater to the offensive line. We want to build off of all that. So yeah, Anchorman. How many points we got left? 150. Okay, so let's go over to this side and see what we got going on. So obviously we already got one side locked in. Let's see, man in the middle. Yeah, focus on linebackers, specifically middle linebacker. So I can have somebody that can be my Luke Kuechly in the middle. I can turn all my middle linebackers into Luke Kuechly. Have a bunch of Luke Kuechly's and Sean Lee's roaming around in the middle. So left and right outside linebackers. Yeah, I'm going to do anything I can to try to boost my linebackers. Final piece. All players. I couldn't even make that out. The way this looks on my computer screen right now is crazy. The words are all blurry. So if I sound like I'm trying to figure out what's going on, it's because looking at the game on my PC right now, it looks a little off. So, but nonetheless, I think we got what we got. We only got 10 points left that we could play with. So we really don't have much else we can allocate that towards too. So I'll probably just sit on that. Everything else costs like 20 staff points. So we're good on there. In the offseason, we're going to focus on trying to bring in offensive and defensive coordinator that's a real offensive and defensive coordinator. And we'll work from there. So another thing, I know I just did this like a couple episodes ago, but that was before the last game of the regular season. So now I'm going to check out the final stats for all players. Well, specifically for all of my players, but we'll check out all players as well for the statistics for the end of the regular season. So I did it before when it was like through 16 games. Now this is after all teams have played all 17 games. So as far as awards are concerned, this is what we look like. So this is pretty much the final set. You got Malik Willis is scheduled to win MVP. Antonio Pierce, Coach of the Year. Malik Willis, Offensive Player of the Year. Quez Watkins would be the runner-up. Pacheco would be third place. Mixon would be fourth. Pickens would be fifth. Then you got Nico Collins on there. Defensive Player of the Year, we have Chop Robinson. Looks like he's lined up to win it. Max Crosby is runner-up. Forbes Jr. So the top three people are all Raiders. Offensive Rookie of the Year, it looks like, as far as the AFC is concerned, it looks like it's Brock Bowers. But we all know that's not how they go off of it. Now, you'll get points for winning it for your conference, but overall, it depends on who had the best numbers overall at the end of the year. So once that's announced, then, it is what it is. Chop Robinson is lined up to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. Malik Willis scheduled to win Best Quarterback. Of course, nobody was even close to him throughout the whole league as far as quarterback is concerned. So he did it on the ground. He did it in the air. So the fact that he did that is going to be beneficial. Really, that's like MVP stuff right there. Best running back, Pacheco. Quez Watkins scheduled to win Best Wide Receiver for AFC, at least. Now, whether or not that's going to be the entire league, we shall see. Pickens, second. Collins, third. Best offensive line. Of course, none of our guys are up there because, again, we didn't run the ball. So this will change next season, but for now, no. Best D-line, Chop Robinson, Max Crosby is the runner-up. You got Will Anderson, that is third. Again, I'm going over all of this. It's not solidified, but this is basically what it's going to be. So we'll revisit this again right before the Super Bowl. But Byron Young, best linebacker, Khalil Mack, he's number 2. Tranquil is 3. Best DB, Emmanuel Forbes, with Farley being a runner-up, then Sauce Gardner being 3rd. Then you got best kicker. None of our guys is up there, or our guy isn't up there, should I see. So NFC, offensive player of the year would be Theo Johnson, the rookie tight end for the Giants. Then you got Neighbors, who's 3rd. Taylor was 2nd. You got Overshown defensive player of the year, who was going crazy with the picks. D. Winters had a lot of sacks. He's number 2. Offensive rookie of the year, Theo Johnson with Malik Neighbors and Tyler Harrell, number 3. Then you got Edrin Cooper, defensive rookie of the year. Best quarterback would be Matthew Stafford. Duggan would be runner-up. Love would be 3rd. Carr would be 4th. So you only got 2 users that's in the running for that, and neither one of them are first. Best wide receiver, Malik Neighbors. Lindstrom, best offensive lineman, with Tyler Smith 5th. Azeez Ojulari scheduled to be best defensive lineman, with Nick Bosa being a runner-up. Then you got D. Winters scheduled to be best linebacker, with Micah Parsons runner-up. Xavier McKinney, best DB, with Diamador Lenore being a runner-up. And Groupie scheduled to be the best kicker in the NFC. So that's for the awards. Again, it's not final, but that's pretty much final. Malik Willis' final numbers on the season came up short of 6,000 yards by 19 yards. He almost had 6,000 yards. We almost had 6,000 yards with him. So rushing, he had nearly 1,500 yards. He came up 15 yards shy of that with 45 rushing touchdowns on the ground. Then you had Quez Watkins, who had 1841 on 50 catches for 20 touchdowns. Then you had 1309 for Pitts and 1019 for Bowers. So we had 3 receivers over 1,000 yards for the year. All of them put in work. Defensively, you see it, the 2 road graders, Chop Robinson, or the 2 edge rushers, should I say. Chop Robinson and Max Crosby went nuts. Robinson, 46.5 sacks. Crosby had 30. Then you had Forbes Jr. with 18 picks. Farley with 14. They went crazy. Forbes Jr. finished with 3 touchdowns. Farley ended up finishing with 2. And let's see. Let's check out for the league receiving. So for the league with receiving, Theo Johnson ended up having 2,000 receiving yards on 130 catches with 23 touchdown receptions. Quez had the 20 touchdown receptions. Then you had Pickens that had 19. Neighbors had 17. St. Brown had 16. Kupp had 16. Thornton had 14 for the 49ers. Sacks, or defense, should I say, sacks overall in the league, light years away. Chop Robinson and Crosby, y'all know what they had. Then you had D. Winters had 22. Anderson had 20. 19 for Hunter. 18 for Ojulari. 17 for Hutchinson. 17, there was a couple people tied with 17, but you see it. That's the numbers defensively. Montez Sweat had 12. It's a bunch of players in there. Byron Young, he's on that list with 11, but he's way down that list. In real life, that 11 will probably mean something, but given the way these guys have been going nuts, don't really mean much in the game. Then you got Forbes Jr. There goes Overshown, like I was saying. Overshown, that user, shout out to Tony. He been going nuts with Overshown. He's a beast with his linebackers across the middle and his outside linebackers. So team stats, offense, we're number 1 in total offense with 9,700 yards. Next best has 8,300. Passing, we have 6,454. Next best is 59. Rushing, we led that with 2,200. Next best was nearly 2,200. We had 52.8 points a game, which was first. Next best was 39.6. That was the Texans. Then 34.4 at the Giants. Then we led the league in touchdown passes with 60. Next best was the Giants with 57. We led the league in rushing touchdowns with 58. Next best was 41. And we led the league in first downs with 371. Defense. We led the league in total defense, total yards allowed. We were second in pass yards allowed. Niners was first with 3,083. We led the league in rush yards allowed with 525. Next best was 968 by the Bears. Led the league in points, total points, which is 252. Next best was 346, and that was a computer team. We led the league in sacks with 120. Next best was 49ers with 83. Fumbles, we were second in the league with 9. Bears is first with 10. Interceptions, we were first with 49. Next best was Texans with 45. 2-point conversions, all that extra jazz. But we're going to go ahead and cut it right there because all of that we just went through made this episode far too long than I wanted it to be. So there won't be any like game action or anything advancing to the next week. Plus, we need those other games to get knocked out anyway. So as always, if you're here for the first time or you returning and you haven't liked or subscribed already, please do so. Click that notification tab so you can stay up to speed with not only this Raiders rebuild, but other Madden 25 content as well. Again, I appreciate you all for tuning in. That's been my time. Till next time. Peace.